Okay, I just wanted to take a look at really what you've done so far in the first video that you watched from Khan Academy is you have covered these first 4 rules. The first exponent rule tells you that if you have a base raised to an exponent and you have the same base raised to an exponent, to simplify, you add the exponents. So for instance, x squared times x to the third is going to equal x to the 2 plus 3, which is going to equal x to the 5th. So you covered that in pretty good detail. You also covered in the video the next rule, which states that a base raised to an exponent raised to another power can be simplified by multiplying the exponents together. So for instance, I'm getting a little sloppy here. If you have x to the 5th raised to the 2nd, that is actually x to the 5th raised to the 2nd, so it's just multiplied by itself 2 times, which results in multiplying the exponents together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So understanding exponents and multiplication also covers what to do when you're raising a power to a power. We also have this situation where we have 2 numbers being multiplied together, 2 different numbers in parentheses raised to a power. And what the rule states is that you can assign the power to each one of the numbers or variables individually. So let's take a look at this. If we had 5x cubed, what we actually have is 5x times 5x times 5x, which is actually 5 times x. What 5x means is understood to be multiplication, times 5 times x times 5 times x. The commutative law of multiplication allows us to move things around, and we can see that what results is the assignment of the power to each one individually. So we can see how understanding multiplication and expanding the base results in this rule, when we have a product, the whole product being raised to a power. And finally, if we take a look at what happens when we have a fraction raised to a power, and we analyze it closely enough, we can see that we can assign the power to both the numerator and denominator. So let's take a look at that. Let's take 2/3 squared. We can see that that's going to be 2/3 times 2/3, which is actually going to be 2 times 2 over 3 times 3. Multiplying fractions, we multiply the numerators and denominators. We can see that's 2 squared over 3 squared. We can see that we can simply assign the power to each of the numerator and denominator. Now sometimes these laws get combined a little bit. This of course would be 4/9. One more example. If we had 5x over 4 squared, we're going to be assigning the power to every element, because what we really have is the whole numerator squared over the whole denominator squared, which, as we saw by our other rule, results in assigning the power to each member of what's inside the parentheses. Five squared is 125. Oh, 5 squared is 25. 4 squared, 16. So really, the video that you watch from Khan Academy covers these first 4 properties. And you don't ever need to memorize the properties. I'll always provide them. However, I don't think you even need them provided if you really understand how expanding exponents works and how simplifying them and pulling them back together.